Alright, I'm back. Seth Dark Arts here. Now that last video cut very quickly and suddenly. They really need to get these bugs fixed out, man. But I learned something new. And just kick this to all of you. If you ever decide to record something with your phone and it's anything of importance, go into your settings and turn off temporarily. Just turn off your mail, incoming mail, because the moment you get a mail, man, it just shut your video off, man. It's like, what the hell's going on with this, man? But anyway, so I said what I had to say on that point, the last video, about me, some new abilities I'm coming into, contacting people in their dream realms, projecting myself into their dream states and their trance states, and other people contacting me and seeking me out. And yeah, that's just what's going on. Now, I've been doing some thinking for a long time, because this is once again connecting back to this material, this Seth material stuff. And like I said before, when I say Seth material, I'm not speaking about specifically that book called the Seth material. I'm referring to all of the material, everything. It had me thinking, man, that it seems, and Seth said it himself, that when he made the books, he created them in a specific way that once you start reading the books, you don't even realize it. You already start to use your inner senses, and you start tapping into that power and unlocking the codes and the doors and the gateways within yourself into these other realities. So as you try to grasp the concepts of what he's talking about, yes, in the beginning they may seem very complicated and you're like, what the hell is this book talking about? But that very act of trying to understand them, you're already using the muscles. You're beginning to use those psychic muscles and those abilities to access them. And next thing you know, you're doing it. You're like, damn, man, how did I do that? I didn't really do anything, but it got me thinking about the material. And I believe, yeah, in one of the I forgot exactly where, but he did say something. I think in one of the more advanced books, possibly The Unknown Reality, which is like, I think, the third and fourth book. He goes into how information, and he goes, this is just summarized, so it's not exact word for word, but basically he went into how, what is information? I mean, what are you really reading when you read a book? It's nothing more than just words on a page. So when you read a book, it's not really giving you anything. It's words on a page, and based on your understanding and the mass understanding of the words that are on that page, you start decoding that reality into something. You start decoding it, but it's not actually giving you anything. It's simply just paper. It's a piece of paper and some letters, and you're looking at it and you're reading it, and you actually start structuring a reality. And this is how all realities are created. Basically, we create them. When someone gives you a book that has completely no photos in it and say, here's a good book, read it, and you pick up this book and you start reading it, you fail to realize, well, not you, not attacking it, but I'm just saying, most people fail to realize that we both read the exact same book. Let's say a fantasy book or any type of book. Could be anything, any category. And we read the book, and we're reading the exact same words, but you have to realize that you're structuring a completely different version of this story than I've structured. Even though we're reading the exact same words, we're both structuring a reality. So if I'm reading a book and you've just read the same book, even though the story might be the same, but we start painting in the empty spaces, and we start coloring it with our own imagination and our own abilities, and we start structuring that world based off of our own ideas. So this brought me to the conclusion, well, not conclusion, but just one idea that I strongly am in tune with, that what is this material, this Seth material? And I came up with this concept of, you read the material, right? And he said basically that it helps you start using those psychic muscles and unlocking the doors within your mind within yourself so you could actually tap into your own information. But that led me to the idea that, which is true, it's not even an idea, this is fact, that information is already in existence. We already know this information, and he has said that many times. He's simply here as a symbol to remind you of what you already know. He said it so many times, either in the books or in the audio collection, that he is us. He represents us. He is simply knowledge, the knowledge that we already are. And he's just coming through to remind us, say, hey, look, you have this power. Wake the hell up. Let's get with the program. This is nothing new. I'm not telling you nothing new. You already know all of this. Everything that's in all his books, he has said it many times. We already know this information. Everything. It's not new. It's nothing. It's just not new. We know this already. And he's simply here to wake us the hell up and say, hey, you already know this, man. So wake up and start getting it. So this brought me to, Hollywood, comics, and all these things. I said this before, probably in another video. When you watch movies, when you watch Hollywood movies, or you read books, or you read even comic books recently, probably even before that, they're always written in two different ways. One story, one way is written for the masses of people who just read it or watch a movie and go, all right, yeah, that was interesting, ooh, nice. And the other group is for the ones who are in the know. And they pick up all the hidden messages that are in there for the other people who know about this knowledge. So, a long time ago, I came across this idea. I was watching Star Wars, right? Now, Hollywood, George Lucas and all these people, and they know about a lot of things, man. If you think George Lucas does not know anything, trust me, they know a lot of stuff. I started thinking about the Star Wars movies, right? And when you look at what's going on, one of these things in the Star Wars universe, at least in the books, on the so-called comics, they have something called a holocron. And they have the Jedi holocron, they have the Sith holocron. Now, the holocron is something that the Jedi or the Sith can have it. They can put their preserved consciousness into it, and basically it can be accessed by anyone at some point. So when they die, or before they die, they project their preserved their consciousness into this artifact. And once they put their consciousness in it, someone can come along, just say centuries later, or however long later, access this, and a holographic image of this person will project out, and it will be able to communicate. You can have an actual two-way conversation with the person and reveal the knowledge and the secrets that you have encoded within this thing. And it would be just as if that real person was there, except they've already died and moved on, but their consciousness is so well preserved into it, it would seem as if they're actually there. Now, this concept is nothing new. When you look at the Superman universe and those comics, look at Kal-el, aka Superman, Jor-el, Superman's father. Jor-el has done the same thing. And if you watch a new Superman movie recently, you can see it also. What Jor-el did, he did exactly the same thing. He preserved his consciousness into, I guess, the Superman's so-called, what do you call it, the Fortress of Solitude, something like that. Yeah, and in the stories. But yeah, he preserved his consciousness into these crystals or whatever thing it was. But basically, Kal-el can go there anytime he wants and have a two-way conversation with his father. And what does his father do? Can reveal to him all the secrets and all the knowledge about their planet Krypton and all these other things. Now, I know people, I'm not saying this, I know people laugh and say, oh boy, he's going into comic books, but you got to keep an open mind here, people. Hollywood has a tendency to put a lot of truth into movies, and only the ignorant will not notice it. Going back to movies like The Matrix and all these other movies, one group just watches and say, oh wow, slow-mo, bullet time, and all this bullshit, but they don't pick up on the bigger message. So these movies are made for two sets of people, those in the know and those who haven't got a damn clue. So yeah, you got these Jedi holocron, the Sith holocron, and on top of all that, you have the Fortress of Solitude, you have jor-el with his holocron, basically the same thing. And it got me thinking that this is, well, before I get into that, yeah, you got to look at the Star Wars universe, man. For me, it seems like to me that some of the Star Wars universe has been taken, well, of course, from many different religions, and one of them, for me, I feel is related to Egypt or Kemet, because you look at, we have the Sith, right, and then you have Seth. Seth was the ancient god of darkness in Kemet or in Egypt. He was the god of darkness. What does in the Star Wars universe, the dark side, they follow the dark side. They say that Seth's color in ancient Kemet, the color that represented him, was red. What do the Sith have? Red lightsabers. So these are just some things to think about. If you go even deeper into the storyline, which is probably not in the movies, what happened? How did the whole war kick off between the Jedi and the Sith? The Sith basically wanted to. They had this concept of utilizing the dark side. I'll just break it down. They wanted to use the dark side for good, for their own reasons. They felt that there could be a balance, and you could use these other. Now, it wasn't called the dark side, but so-called negative energy. They felt that they could use that for the benefit of the order, and it could help them. They didn't have to shut down these things. They could use them and control them. But of course, here come the Jedi saying, no, you can't do that, and this is our way. Now, this story sounds very familiar. This sounds to me like the story between Seth and, I hope I'm not messing this up. When I get going, juices flow, and I make some mistakes. But I think it was Seth and Osiris. I think he killed his brother Osiris and chopped him up into pieces. This is what the story was in Egypt. But basically, yeah, man, Seth was... he questioned authority, basically. If I made a mistake, I apologize. You can do your own research on that. But long story short, Seth challenged authority. And this is what happened in the Star Wars universe between the Sith. This is how the whole thing kicked off, the Sith and the Jedi. The Sith, at that time they weren't Sith, they were just Jedi, but they questioned the authority. And they said, look, we can use these powers. We don't have to be so limited, man. But here comes someone setting themselves up as a god, the Jedi. No, it must be this way, and you have to do it this way. And if you don't, then you can't stick around. You can't hang out with us no more, man. You got to get out the clubhouse. So basically, they took the Sith, the people who at that time didn't want to follow the rules and was questioning authority, and they basically sent them on a ship with a one-way ticket to nowhere and just sent them out into the universe. They ended up crashing on a planet. And when they landed on this planet, there was already a race of people there that were called the Sith, and this was their natural species. And they were red. Drop that in there. The species was red. They were a species, I don't know, some type of alien race, but they all had red skin, and they were on this planet. And what happened? The Jedi, these rogue Jedi appeared there, and basically, because of the power, because of the information that they knew. See, this ties into so many of the stories we hear and we think about. Because they landed on this planet and they had this knowledge of the Force, this Sith race, Sith species, they were already Force sensitive. They could use the Force too, but not at an effective level. They were kind of like a primitive race, warriors. So when these rogue Jedi landed here, man, they already had knowledge of the Force. They've been using it for a long time. So they land, and they're like, yo, man, time to set up shop, man. They lucked up. They appeared in this place on a course to nowhere, landed on a planet with a bunch of Force sensitives that could use the Force. And because they had deeper knowledge, they basically set themselves up as gods. They were nobody special. They were just normal like everybody else. But simply because they had knowledge of these deeper energies of the universe, they were able to proclaim themselves as gods. Now, I hope I didn't take you on a little run there through the whole Star Wars universe, but I'm using this just as an example to make you think. You may have heard similar accounts through history, something similar. This taps into how did emperors and all these things appear. I said in my other videos, it could have been something very similar to this. You've heard stories of Atlantis, or the so-called Atlantis. What happened? I've seen many other documentaries saying that it was probably a superior race. something happened, they had to spread out, and basically wherever they landed at, they had this knowledge of how the universe worked. They set up shop, used the local people that were there, mixed in with them, made themselves stronger. And because they had this knowledge of these abilities and how the universe worked, they appeared to be as gods. They were not gods, they were normal, but they were deeper in tune with the universe. And they took advantage and just set themselves up as the gods of that place. So, yeah, look at the correlations. You could do your own research, and people might say he's reaching now, but I'm not. I'm just going through my own research. So look it up. You got the Seth, and I'm not speaking specifically about the Seth material, but just look at the correlations between the ancient Kemet or Egyptian story between the Egyptian gods, and you might find some similarities there between those stories. Red lightsabers, Egyptian god Seth's color is red. They land on a planet with a race called the Sith. They're red. The Sith have the dark side. Seth is the god of darkness. Things to think about. But anyway, so back to what I was saying. These books, the actual Seth material, he's saying that you have this material, you have this information encoded in you. This led me to the idea of we actually have these holocrons already encoded within us. And I believe that it's encoded within our DNA and deep within our consciousness. And these codes need to be triggered somehow. And how do you trigger them? You need a triggering point to set them off. And from my understanding, basically, and from contact with my inner self, yes. Now, there's a lot of material out there. I'm not saying this is the only way, but at least this is one of them. The actual Seth material is that triggering point. It's as if when you sit down... Oh, and just to bring this up, it's not important, but the Jedi Holocrons, you can look it up on the internet. Holocrons, spelled Holocrons, but the Jedi Holocrons... Their holocrons were a square box, kind of like a square shape. But when you look at the Sith holocrons, they were all in the shape of pyramids. And not only were they in the shape of pyramids, they had a lot of hieroglyphics etched all over them. And basically, that looks not Egyptian, like Egyptian hieroglyphics, but a little bit similar. So yeah, Sith holocrons had, a pyramid shape. I think this is some insider trying to give you little hints. So, yeah, this information is encoded within our DNA and deep within our consciousness. It needs to be triggered, and certain material triggers that. And basically what happens is, just like these holocrons, once you start reading this material, like I said, it's just words on a paper. It's just words in a book. The words have actually nothing in them, but as you read it, it starts triggering and unlocking those memories that are already deep within yourself. So then you activate that preserved consciousness. Basically, you hear people talking about the Akashic records, the halls of Amenti, and all these things, which is the knowledge of your whole existence and the knowledge of the whole universe's existence and everything that has existed, ever will existed, so on and so forth. You know what I'm trying to say? But this is information that's within all of us. And once we start reading these words, it's kind of like casting a spell. You're doing the chant, and it starts unlocking those doors within yourself. And then, this is when people come up with these ideas about their inner self. What is the inner self? Nothing more than a holocron. The inner self comes up, and it appears, and it starts dropping knowledge on you like you've never even imagined. Now, where did that come from? Sometimes it happens spontaneously, but most likely you've probably done something in your daily life, something to start triggering those mechanisms within your mind and unlocks those codes. And once that holocron, basically the inner self, starts to get unlocked, then it starts revealing information to you, deep information that's within yourself, information that you've been walking around with that has been encoded within you for all these years, and you didn't even know it. So, yeah, just something I want you to think about, people. Really think about it. Now, gotta change the tune just a little bit, because I want to get into something else. Yo, check this out, man. I was thinking recently, I was in deep meditation. I came up with this concept of people who try to criticize you, getting down on you, talking down to you, telling you all this nonsense, trying to make you feel like, you ain't shit and you're nobody. I thought about this, man, and I'm going to say this to anybody. If a person has not traveled their own halls, if a person has not walked the halls of their own consciousness, if a person has not walked the halls of their own mind, they don't have shit to tell me. I'm sorry. A lot of people could say this is being conceited and you're thinking you're better than everyone, but I'm not. I'm simply saying, look, if someone has not even had a so-called lucid dream, if a person has not even taken the time to experiment and go within themselves and access their own inner realities and study their own dream states, what can they possibly tell you? For me, they're just an infant. I'm sorry. In terms of growth, you're still a baby to me, because you haven't even touched on the bigger picture yet. So what could you possibly have to tell me? You can't tell me anything. Or because anything you're telling me is simply something that's focused within three-dimensional reality, the physical world. And 9 times out of 10, it's something that you are regurgitating to me that you have been brainwashed into believing from somebody else. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to say, all right, this is a little too much. He's saying nobody can tell him anything. I'm not saying that I know everything, because I will never know anything. Nobody will ever know everything, because it's an endless learning process. I'm simply saying that when you come across people in your daily life and they're trying to look down on you, this is one way that you can make yourself feel better. If you've had at least one conscious dream experience, and this person has not, I don't want to make any battle and try to say put people better than other, but this is just to help you. If that person trying to put themselves above you, just say for example, they're like, well, yes, I went to XYZ university and I got this degree, and you don't have those things, but then you're saying, have you ever had a conscious dream? Have you ever had a lucid dream? Have you ever had an astral projection? Well, no, that's a lot of nonsense. That person's still an infant. Sorry, keeping it real. They don't know anything. They don't know anything. They just got some book knowledge that it's been forced down their throats. They're regurgitating it back to you. You have completely no experience or knowledge of anything. That's straight talk, real talk. Serious, man. So when I come across people, and I do, especially over here, who are real up on prestige and went to this university, Tokyo University, and all this type of crap, I just laugh, because a lot of those people have not even experienced anything. They're simply living within this fantasy realm called society. But yeah, so just keep that in mind, all of you out there, all my fellow dark artists. If a person has not walked the halls of their own consciousness and explored within themselves and their own inner reality, in my eyes, they're still an infant, and they're still in adolescent stage. They haven't started to grow yet. Because once you start entering those realms, and I say, at least conscious dreaming, that's the very first, at least one of the first beginner steps. Once you start that, you're starting to grow. You're starting to expand. Once you're able to remember that subjective reality and that experience, and bring back knowledge from the dream world, and remember what happened consciously, you're starting to grow. If you haven't done that, step up your game. It's okay. You can still do it. But for others out there who have not done it, and they're trying to criticize you, just laugh. Laugh in the face. You don't have to be mean, or just step off and keep it moving, and don't waste your time with them, because they have nothing to tell you. Like I said, if a person has not done any of those things I just mentioned, they're not bringing nothing new to the table for me. Sorry. I'm not looking down on people, and I said it many times in other videos, don't look down on people, but I'm on a completely different level, man. And if a person has not touched on any of these areas, that means they're not bringing nothing new to my table, and I don't have time for them, because they're talking to me about some bullshit that I've already evolved past. Sports, who's going to be president, and all this other nonsense. And yeah, like I talked to a person recently, one of these, nice person I met, told you the story, we met in the astral realms. But, I kind of made a joke and I laughed. I said, it's difficult because, and I talked to another friend of mine too. I said, it gets hard, man, because sometimes there's no levels, but just say, I'm on level 28. And then when I meet other people, I got to break it down to fucking level 1 because these people cannot comprehend what I'm talking about. I'm not better than them, but they just can't, I'm not vibing with them, man. So it's like you got 3 people, A, B, and C. It's like I was referring to the person I told. It's like person A, hey, I tried to project myself to this person the other day, and I actually worked. Person B, yes, I remember this experience, and it was an experience that was outside of time and space, but I definitely met you. Person C, well, last night I watched a football game and had a beer. Oh yeah. Who are you gonna vote for to be president? It's like, are you fucking kidding me? And I know I've been swearing a lot recently too, but I'm sorry, that's just how the information is coming out. But I'll say it once again. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm talking about something that's completely amazing, outside the box, real deal experiences that other people are having, and you're coming to me talking about who am I gonna vote for to be president? Or did I watch a football game or the soccer game or some other nonsense? I don't care. It doesn't matter to me because let me stop. You know me. Stop going a rant. But yeah. Anyway. Now, it's not too late for you. If you come across this video and you're new, there's always hope. As long as you're still breathing and you're watching my video, you can change your life. And this brings me into another point, man. How long do you need to be in physical reality to realize that these people, so-called society, people who run society, they don't run anything, they think they do, but so-called people who think they run a society and the elite and government, how long do you need to be here to realize that they're talking about some straight bullshit? They're not going anywhere. Wait, you need to start looking at this from a different point of view. They are not going anywhere, man. How long do you need to be here? 30 years? Just tell me, please. I want to know, how long do you have to be here? 30 years? 45 years? 52? 65? How many years do you need to be here to realize this is some straight nonsense? Because, oh man, I'm trying to be calm here. Sometimes, this stuff gets me worked up, man, because it's like, I peeped this a long time ago, man. It's like, you start getting angry at some point. And I'm not saying to get stressed out, but you start getting upset because it's like, how many years do they expect me to follow along this fantasy, man? It's like, every few years, every 4 years, we go through the same goddamn cycle. Who's going to be president? Who's going to be president? You're going to vote for this person? You're going to vote for that person? And the person, both people, they get up there, they lie, they say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to change, hope. And the moment they get in office, literally, just about everything they said they were going to do, they don't do it. They do the complete opposite. And this is what kills me. It seems like the whole country, of any country, whatever country it is, they get this sudden case of amnesia where they completely forget about everything this person promised. It doesn't fall through. And it's like mind wipe. Everyone completely forgets. And 4 years pass. And 4 years later, we're right back to the same damn thing. Talking about the same thing. Who you're going to vote for. It's like, it's so mind-boggling. I can't even comprehend it. How can people just keep falling for this over and over again? It doesn't take a nuclear physicist or rocket scientist to figure this out. They're not taking us anywhere. They're not taking us anywhere, and society is not advancing. We're advancing in terms of technological advancement. And that's what they consider advancement. So yeah, we got a lot of new toys. We got electrical things, iPhones, iPads, computers. But they've basically given up on the advancement of so-called human consciousness and developing consciousness. They're not giving you anything to develop your consciousness at all. They don't care. If they can't make money off of it, simply doesn't matter to them. So Yeah, how long do you have to be here to pick up on this, man? You can't figure this out already? This is not going anywhere. And that's what gets me. You know, they fill us with lies. From the moment we're born, they're stringing us along, man. You know, telling us, oh, go to school, go to school. You're going to be famous. You could do this, you could do that. Then you go to school. And, you know, it's funny how when you go to school, right, in the beginning, they're telling you all this BS. Like, yeah, you could do anything you want. You could be famous. You could be this. You could be that. Explore your dreams. You got all this crap on your notebooks. Yeah, dream forever. Use your imagination. Man, then the moment you hit high school, that starts slowing down. They start telling me, yeah, you got to start focusing on the future now, and what are you going to do? And next thing you know, by the time you get through all these institutions, you've lost all imagination. They're not telling you anymore about follow your dreams and all this. They're telling you, yeah, well, you know, the economy, you got to do this job, and you got to do this, and you got to follow these rules, and this is the rules that we follow here in society. And if you don't do that, it's like, wait a minute, what the hell happened to the early years when you were telling me I could do anything I want and be anything I want? It's a lie, man. And they're stringing you along. And next thing you know, you're getting older and older and older. Next thing you know, you're 21. You're like, oh, it's okay. I mean, it's going to be different. Then you're 25. Then you're 30. Next thing you know, you're 40. Next thing you realize, you're 40-something years old, and you're going, it was a joke. They lied to me. It was a goddamn trap. They told me all these stories, and it was nothing more than a trick to use me for my energy to support these companies going on, and I got nothing out of it but stress. So I know I used age in there just now as just to explain a story, but there is no age. Get on that too. Stop worrying about age, people. Stop letting people come in talking about, oh, you're getting older now. Oh, you're gonna be 45. Oh, you're like a grandmother now. You're a grandfather. Yo, how old am I? I'm immortal, baby. I am as old as the universe is. Straight talk. And so are you. That's how old I am. How old am I? I don't know. 50,000 years old? 10 million years old? Doesn't matter to me. Because I'm immortal. Everybody's immortal. And age is just some crap that they made up here in the physical reality, man. There is no age. Because you don't die. How can you have an age when you're immortal? How can you have an age when you've existed before time has even existed? Before the whole concept of age even existed, we have been around. So I don't talk about age. Age means nothing to me. What matters is how far you go in your mind, expand your consciousness. That's it. There is no age. So stop letting people bring you down about your age. If you're getting old, so-called getting older, getting in your 40s and all this stuff, stop thinking about that. Because when you do that, that starts breaking your body down. It's go, oh yeah, I'm 40 years old now. I can't move like I used to. Yes, you can. You can move like you used to. But you're breaking it down in here, mentally. You're letting your mind slow you down. You could keep moving. You could keep doing all the things you used to do. Just got to stay active. That's it. Got to eat healthy. A friend of mine just sent me a video about this guy who is a vegan. Now, I'm not a vegan specifically, but I don't eat meat. And he was saying how the moment he cut meat out of his diet, all his illnesses started disappearing. He dropped weight. He lost a lot of weight. His body got more in tune. And you heard these stories from many other people on the internet, man. Once you drop that meat, same thing with me. Once I dropped the meat, and he said his strength increased. And you know it's not a lie, because the same thing happened to me. Once I dropped the meat, boom, psychic abilities out the roof. All my power started coming in more deeper. Once I started eating healthy, strength went tripled in strength. All physical strength. Thinking became super clear. Eat right, and it will do you justice. Get back to nature, and it will do you justice. But yeah, just don't stick around with this crap, man. Wake up, and realize that these people are not taking you anywhere. They're not taking you nowhere. There's no destination. The only destination is to the nearest bank to spend your damn money on something that you don't even need. Now, I apologize. I know I went on a rant there. But I love all of y'all, man. I love everybody out there. And anger comes from love. Hate comes from love. The reason I get pissed off is because I love a lot of people, man. And I hate to see people going through this BS, man, and getting trapped out here in these illusions all the time. It's nothing more than just an illusion. We got to pay taxes. We got to do this. We got to do that. Says who? Who says we got to do all of that stuff? Who decided that? And right before I get out of here, I'm just going to drop this on you. I was talking to a friend recently, and we went into how I was telling him the whole concept of, I can't come up with it clearly right now because I'm still heated, but yeah, we were all living perfectly fine before in nature. When did this idea come in that we had to start paying for things? And the only thing that I could come up with is that at some point this concept of greed or jealousy or something came up. If we were all living happy in nature, right, just say, and we're living off the land, free water, free food, somebody or something, a type of consciousness must have came in and said, they had to come up with this concept of wanting to be over everyone else, everything else in nature. And what had to happen was, they probably were like, I'm just giving you an example. Let's say you had some people, they had some shells, seashells, rocks, or whatever. They had this idea, and they said, well, it's okay. You all can have what you have there. Whatever you have. Everybody had the same thing. They say, you can all have that. That's cool. But I have this. And this is better and different than whatever you have. And if you want this, you have to give me something for it. And this is how it kicked off, man. You know, somebody came up with the concept of wanting to be better than everyone else. And that's when it created this idea of jealousy and greed. And this is why we're in this current state of affairs right now. If everyone was living natural and not wanting what somebody else had, we wouldn't have a lot of these problems. Also, when you see a lot of wars kicking off across the world, the reason that's happening is because this is what happens when you try to limit the power of consciousness and the power of the soul and the power of the entity. When you try to put it within very small terms, you know, example, race, nationality, you are this race. These are our rules and you have to follow them. This is when problems start erupting, because these are problems erupting within the psyche, within the mind, within the consciousness. They start erupting out. This is when you start getting terrorism and all these things. People are lashing out. I came up with this new term, man. I just made it. We're all suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic spirit disorder, or post-traumatic spiritual disorder, man. This is what's happening to us, man. Well, we're traumatized, basically, because we come down to this physical reality, and we're meant to experience it, get some experiences, have a good time, have a blast, and then cut out. And basically, we're in shock and trauma because we come here, and the moment we, leave from our mother's womb, and we get of age, a coherent age to start communicating, we start getting bombarded with all this BS, man, that has nothing to do with why we came here. So you got to go to school now, you got to do this, you got to do that, here are the rules, you are a human. That's another big lie. They start telling you are human, and you have limitations, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. And, man, we start going through PTSD, man, post-traumatic spiritual disorder. It's like, what the hell's going on? I didn't sign up for this, man. That's what happens. So this is why the planet is such in an uproar, and there's so many outbursts going around of energy and explosions of energy in the form of terrorism, riots, and all these things, because we are being forced into something that's not natural. We're not meant to be sitting around and being forced into certain categories, man. I have no category. I tell people to don't put me in no category, man. Don't put me in no racial category or none of that stuff. It doesn't apply to me. That's your world. It's not my world. So I'm with all that is. I'm part of all that is, aka God. That's who I am. And if all that is didn't want us to be individual, we wouldn't be here right now. If all that is wanted us sitting around worshiping him and bowing down and all this stuff, it would have kept us where he was, or where it was. It wouldn't have manifested us and gave us the ability to have free will and be individuals. We would still be a part of his, I'm saying his, we know what I'm trying to say. A part of all that is creativity maker. We'd still be there. We wouldn't be here. So we're not here to be worshiping anybody but ourselves. Now, I know I went into a lot of different subjects. I don't even know what I'm going to label this video, man. I might call it Self Dark Arts Rant. I touched on so many subjects right now, man. I'm trying to think, what am I going to label this? I can't even come up with a title. I done went from the Star Wars universe to the Egyptian Kemet god Seth, to Holocrons, to Superman, and back. But I love all y'all out there, and I know people who really appreciate this stuff I talk about. They're probably going to watch this video anyway. If you've noticed, I've been trying to keep the videos down recently so people can, you know, get more, you know, they don't have to sit down for 45 minutes to an hour watching me go on a tyrant, rant and rave, but I'm trying to keep them down. But yeah, just some stuff for you to think about. I kicked off a lot of things, but to summarize, yes, start unlocking those codes within your mind. Keep an open mind. If you watch movies or you read books, or you read comics and any of these things, start looking at it from a different angle. And don't just be like the average Joe or Jane and just see the surface and go, ooh, look, pretty colors. You know, be more open, be more receptive. Look deeper into the messages. Look deeper within the context of what they're talking about. And start opening your mind. Start looking for correlations between so-called acts in history and what you're reading. Because a lot of times, they're trying to drop certain ideas, and it may not be for you. It might be geared to those who are in the know, but we're already in the know. You just need to remember that. So, it's my video, and I believe I covered everything I wanted. Let me just check. You know, I like to try to keep things. I always forget. Even when I finish this video, I'm gonna say, "Damn, I forgot to say that." Yeah, stop. It's time to get out of this world, man. And I don't mean, I'm not telling people to go kill themselves. I'm saying it's time to stop playing these games, man. Stop wanting all this crap that you don't need. You know, it's okay if you want to have, you know, a new phone or an iPhone or something like that, but once you get it, be happy with what you got. Because just keep in mind, you know there's going to be a new iPhone, like, you know, 1 month later or something. You know, you get an iPhone 6 and just say iPhone 6 in January. Fucking iPhone 10 is coming out, like, you know, in 3 months. You know how it is, man. But yeah, so just keeping it real right now, man. Stop wanting all these things, because every time you want something, basically there's always going to be something manifested outside of your reach. Always. There's always going to be something all the time. You want that new iPhone 5, there's going to be an iPhone 6. You want that new car, 2013 model, it's going to be a 2014 model. It never stops. And this is the trap that keeps you locked into the circle of working harder and harder. We shouldn't be working hard. We should be working less. That's what smart thinking is working less, not working harder. You know, you shouldn't be sitting around stressing out, using up all your time, worrying about some complete nonsense. And working hard for some nonsense, man. There's always going to be something manifested outside of your reach and outside of your financial status to get it. And when you get to that level, there's going to be the next level. You know, once you finally get that, just say, you know, $100,000 a year job, you know, now you're mingling with the people that you think you want to mingle with. You know, you got all this, you got a nice home. Now you got to get a boat. You got to get a boat now because you're chilling in the Hamptons. They got boats. Now I got to get a boat. How do I get a boat? Got to work harder. Got to do more stuff. Got to start doing more things. Once you get that boat, you know, you got that small little boat. You're chilling. Got a small boat. Now you got to get a yacht. Why? Because, hey, the guy down the street, he has a yacht. It never ends. So, come back to nature. Nature is all you need. Start eating right, eating healthy. Meditate daily. Meditate. And start writing down your own knowledge. Start hooking up with other people, whether it's through the internet or on face-to-face contacts. Start sharing ideas. One person, I'm not going to say her name, but she watches this, you know who you are, we've been contacting. If I don't contact people right away on Facebook or something, just understand that I'm on the other side of the world here in Japan, and yeah, there's a time difference, fake time difference, you know what I'm saying, I'm running on a different schedule here, so sometimes it might seem like I'm not avoiding anybody or ignoring people. It's just I got other things going on here, and I don't get sometimes back to these social medias as fast as I would like to. But yeah, this other person I met, she told me book bags of stuff which she's been documenting. And just to give you a quick little story that she shared with me real quick, she basically said that one of her experiences, she has a lot of stories, but this was a good one. She basically, I don't know if she was drinking, doing something. She was having a good time with her friends, and she thought she died, and she jumped out of her body. She told me for 4 hours. Now, that's like a world record. She's out of her body for like 4 hours. She went through, her friends couldn't wake her. They ended up leaving her and going off to, I think, some nightclub or something, somewhere. And she gave them account word for word of everything they did in the car ride, when they got to the place, like a full 4 hours information. She dropped all of that on them. And what happened? They laughed at her, and I think according to her story, they ended up cutting her off and calling her crazy. But she gave them word for word account of everything they did that whole time. From the moment they left her alone in the house, on the floor, and they just left her there. And she followed them. She said she traveled with them and gave them word for word accounts. So, yeah, thank you for telling me that story. And she has book bags of stuff where she's been just writing down knowledge, and I mean, just books and books of her own knowledge that she's been writing down for herself. So, yeah, you need to do that. I know I pushed that Seth material, those books out. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm just giving you one way. Because a lot of the questions y'all keep asking me, if you was to touch that book, start getting into it, you start unlocking the information for yourself and finding out your own things. So, that's all I got to say for now. Take care. Peace, love, and harmony. Keep building your dark art powers up. And remember, if you want to contact me, keep in mind, excuse me, if you end up in a bad experience, project to that black marble onyx pyramid that I got out there up in the astral realm somewhere. If you hook up with me, we'll do some real talking and adventures. I might even show you a few new tricks that I got on my sleeve. Alright, take care now. Bye-bye.